experience the full power of the dark side. Good!
We will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
What the? Misa back!
Prepare to fire!
Oh no! Hello and welcome back to Star Wars Beyond the Stars for episode number 18, recorded on Monday, January 5th, 2015. I'm your host, Fred, aka Sith Lord Corv. And joining me tonight, after he finished making cupcakes with Treek, apparently, Agent Olan.
Hello, everyone. Merry belated Christmas. Happy New Year. Hope it was all fun. And no, I think those were cow pies we were making before. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know. I just can't believe you actually took the blue milk out of Treek.
No. Well, that's for Emperor. Oh, sorry. That's several thousand years ahead of myself. Sorry. I'll fix that.
Well, it starts off as white milk, and we just put it in the fridge over here for about 1,000 years, and it turns blue. No?
That's a scary thought. Scary.
Blue mold in the galaxy far, far away.
Far away. In that Star Destroyer refrigerator. Don't open that door. Just don't open it. Don't do it.
And also joining us tonight is Captain Kimbray.
Welcome back, everybody. Fred, I was honestly waiting on you to say 2014, and I was going to correct you, but you said 2015.
Of course I said 2015. I've been working with the date all day.
Yay, Happy New Year and stuff.
Speaking of 2015, I do hope that you guys got a chance to listen to the Star Wars Beyond the Stars NSG Holiday Filler 2014. AKA Episode 17. That was fun to record. Paige even made a cameo on there.
That's right, I did.
As did Treek and ID10T. And a special thanks to John, McCardia, Will, and Maury for recording that with us. It was fun to do.
Never a dull moment with those guys. Never a dull moment.
Never. You can find out more about our show at StarWarsBeyond.com. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SWTORnetwork.com. You can like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/StarWarsBeyond Podcast. And you can tweet us at StarWarsBeyond. And we're back to recording the show live Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/NoSHTGaming. And Paige, what is coming up in the Captain's Log tonight?
Coming up in the Captain's Log, we have our last few weeks in game, predictions for 2015. We have Agent Olan's intelligence report, where Lou will present 100-Year Darkness. Plus, the weekly winner of the Agent Star Wars Trivia Question of the Week, plus your feedback in our community holo feed.
And as always, we do have something quick to mention. Although it's not going to be a little quick, folks. It's going to be quite a read. Hang on. We're going to start with a little forum thread here, and this is from the player Gray7. And Gray7 started a thread, which starts off with this. 4 weeks into the expansion, and we are still seeing playability issues and the silence from the dev speaks, or doesn't for itself. Yes, I understand it is a holiday season and people get time off. That isn't a valid excuse for both a lack of communication or any signs of moving forward to fix this issue, as well as the others. If it is that big a problem, perhaps launching these things a month or so earlier would be better. You see, With kids out of school and some working adults getting extended periods of time off, having a game that isn't suffering issues that affect gameplay would seem to be desirable, especially when an expansion drops. People who left the game often come back for expansions, and in order to keep those players, you have to have a product that shines. When a game suffers for long periods from an issue that can cause frustration, at the least and rage at the worst, people aren't going to stick around. SWTOR had a great opportunity that was flat out squandered by a poor expansion launch. I saw guildmates return from many months of absence, who played for about a week and then left once again. The reasons were varied, but the underlying theme to all of them was that they had better things to do than to try to play a game where fighting lag makes even minor tasks frustrating. Let's not mention the various operations fight bugs, like the Ravager and bosses. What could have been a catalyst for increased player populations seemed to have had the opposite effect, simply because people will not put up with substandard gameplay for extended periods of time, and you really only get one chance per expansion to draw players back in. With the new year upon us, I suspect we will start seeing more conversation about these issues in the next week, but for some players it is too late. They have already come and gone, and we'll be lucky to see them again. End quote from Grey 7. To which Eric Musco replied, "First off, Happy New Year's everyone. I apologize if you feel a lack of communication around this issue. Unfortunately, I haven't provided much since I do not have a status update as of yet. Here's what I can tell you. We definitely have not forgotten about this, and the team is still assessing what the cause is, and how we can begin to address it. What I am going to do is to work with the team to get a status update with as much detail as I can by next Friday, although hopefully before then. Thank you again for your continued patience. We know that dealing with these issues isn't the best experience, and we will get them addressed as soon as we can. Eric." So, what does that mean for the game? Or at least for, I guess, that portion of the populace that is being affected by these issues?
Well, before we really dive into this specific issue, I do want to point out something that Grey 7 did allude to. The developers and community team have been exceptionally silent over the holiday break, which I understand, holidays and everything, but there should have been somebody at BioWare at least there to acknowledge these problems people were pointing out. Because Musco's reply to this guy was like on the 11th page or something like that.
I see this a lot at work in my own company, and it's not something that I'm proud of, but I see that there's an issue being brought up, and it's not a problem until it's a major problem. They don't take issues as they come and address them. And when the issue finally does become a big problem, everybody just throws their hands up and goes, "I don't know." It just, that's what his answer is. It's a fluffed up, "I don't know." Well, who does know? If you don't know, someone does. Where are they? Why aren't they saying anything?
Well, even if you look at the forums and look at the developer tracker, there's been maybe 3 or 4 posts the entire last week.
Granted, but again, for us over here, at least stateside, it is, a major holiday break for lots of companies, lots of industries. So at least that part I can understand. But the opposite side of the coin is there were issues in the game, and some major issues were brought up. Okay, and the lack of response, or at least a timely response, that just needs something to be worked on.
See, I don't accept that the holidays is the reason that no one said anything, because this was an issue before the holidays, and no one said anything then. And then they wrote it out until the holidays, and now it's, oh, well, no one was around. Okay, well, where were you before that?
Well, I'm all for giving them the benefit of the doubt. But here we are now. Today was Monday, the 5th, which means New Year's Day was days ago at this point. The last official post from BioWare on the forums is this exact quote that we referenced when we wrote the notes yesterday. And that post was made on January 2nd. So nobody's posted on the forums from BioWare in the last 3 days. And there's a lot more issues being reported every day.
Right.
I mean, you can only give them the benefit of the doubt so long before you go, okay, New Year's is over now. Where are they?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people were on the community team? Not everybody should be getting vacation at the same time.
Yeah, you have to kind of throttle that stuff so that someone's around to take responsibility when an issue like this comes up.
Yeah, exactly. And, industries are different, but in the end, it boils down, at least for me, the customer service that wasn't there. Okay? I mean, Fred, absolutely right. I mean, that post from Eric Musco was from January 2nd. Okay, but before that, as Paige brought up, these issues weren't new. I mean, they dropped as soon as 3.0 dropped. Okay, which was December 2nd. All right, people started reporting a whole host of issues the moment 3.0 dropped. And it's still carrying on today, at least the majority of them. Let me backtrack. At least a few of them have been addressed. But in the end, there are a couple of issues that are still standing out, that are still making the game unbearable for some, and annoying for others. Again, in the end, these are issues that still need to be fixed. And this kind of response, or a lackluster response, just needs to be worked on, needs to be better.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on into the captain's log then. And we'll come back to beating the Swampa later. So, Paige, what did you do in game over the last couple weeks?
Well, the holidays didn't give me a lot of game time. I still had to work most of those days, and the days I had off were filled with family and work functions. However, I PvP'd on my medicine operative a lot. I'm still loving doing that so much. I'm still topping those healing charts. Still having a blast doing it. Never gets boring. I took some time to become a special snowflake. Kimball really loved being pelted with the snowballs. You could see it in his eyes. He was just so happy.
We're all special snowflakes.
I did get kind of annoyed as every time I went somewhere, someone was pelting me with a snowball, and I was like, stop it! But, I did do dailies with Fred a couple times. There's nothing interesting to report on that. It's just, it is what it is.
What do you mean nothing interesting? We did it with Ash a couple times.
That doesn't make it interesting.
Wow.
That just means that someone else was there.
Wow.
What? How does that make it more interesting, whether or not there's another person there?
You just crushed Ash's feelings. It's okay.
Well, if it was that easy, then I'm not the villain here. Anyway, since I didn't do a lot, I just wanted to say my plans for this week. I really want to do Yavin with Lou and Fred. Come on, guys. I really want to do that. Like, now.
Yeah, we need to finish it. Because we have our group there stuck at the... I think we're all at 57, 58. And so we have to get the next two levels on Yavin.
Now that this jerk's finally back from being on vacation with the BioWare staff.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I want to do Yavin, I want to PvP some more, and maybe play my bounty hunter with Fred's sorcerer, because I like them.
Okay, that was nice and quick. So, Lou, what were you up to over the last couple weeks?
Well, as I mentioned, maybe mentioned on Twitter and maybe our last show, I did go away for the holidays. So it gave me a little game time. I mean, I did bring my laptop, but the first part of my holiday time, I was actually with my brother-in-law and his family.
On Kashyyyk.
Yeah. On Kashyyyk, doing a lot of, meet and greet for the first time, at least for me.
Wookiee Life Day.
Meeting my in-laws for the first time, so I left very little game time. And the second part, you go to a relative's house, and they've got crap internet connection. It's 2015, people. Come on. Get with it. As I wrote here in the notes, see, my laptop plus bad internet at relative's house equals single-player games.
Oh, come on, Lou. You missed hearing that noise that...
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. All right, it's not 256K, 128, or 56K baud. All right, it's good enough for Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, but apparently not good enough for SWTOR.
You've got mail.
Yeah. What is that? That sounds familiar. It sounds so old.
You've got goodbye.
However, I did keep faithful to the BioWare name. I was playing other BioWare games, like Dragon Age 2, Mass Effect. but that's about it. What little game time I did get, though, I did start for my other level 55s down the Forged Alliance's story arc. So I got them, going, because obviously I want to finish, get them to 60 and then hit all the other stuff. So with that, I got my Trooper, my Vanguard, my Sentinel, Gunslinger, Sorcerer started on the Forged Alliance's arc. And I think, let's see, at this point, I think I did the first one for all those characters. Then I have to go back and finish the rest. But because, I have all 4 of those characters doing it solo. Because I tried doing it initially on my Sentinel with the group. And, wow, no. I'll save myself the pain. And just do it by myself for now. Maybe I'll try again this week or learn next week, see how it goes. But the first group run I had going on my Sentinel was just god-awful. And it just fell apart. Left a bad taste. I was like, screw it, I'll do this on these 4 characters solo for now. So once I got that going, I actually went back to my Shadow as well. Because before I hit Forged Alliances, I need to finish my class story on my Shadow. Because I had leveled up my Shadow to 55 when 12 times XP was still going on. So the moment I hit a certain point on boss, I think it was level 47, I skipped the rest of the class storyline and went to McKeb. Since the XP boost there that you get with the GSI satellite support helped get me to 55, and I stopped from that point forward. So now I went back to Voss and picked up the class story from there, and I'm going to actually finish all of Voss. So not only do the class story, but finish the game normally, meaning, do a class story, do the side quests and everything, and move on that way, and then start Forged Alliances once that's all wrapped up. Also, looking at my character list in Jedi Covenant, since I moved my Trooper Vanguard over to Shadowlands, I obviously put another character slot. I'm going to make a Sage Healer on Jedi Covenant to complement the list of other healers I have on that server. I mean, right now I have an Operative and Sorcerer, all Spec B heals. I also made a Commando not so long ago, if you guys remember, and she's going to be full heals. So I figure, you know what? I have 2 for the Imperial side. I'm going to make a second one for the Republic side. Make a Sage Healer.
But wasn't the Commando the replacement to your Vanguard?
Yeah. Initially I was going to create a Vanguard TPS, and then I was like, you know what? I want to try the Commando Healer, see how it goes, see how that plays, because it was either going to be a Commando, or I was going to create another Smuggler and make that one a Scoundrel.
Well, some of the assault cannons that they've added recently look pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the latest one, the Zerka one, doesn't look too bad, so I don't mind using that one. Which reminds me, I should buy that pretty soon, or just put it on hold, put it aside for now. But yeah, I mean, once I did that, and then I'm gonna go back and look back on Shadowlands to see what I'm missing, or missing most of them actually, but decide which other classes I want to start working on as well. Because I don't want to transfer my characters over from Jedi Covenant to Shadowlands. I want to keep the 2 servers separate. I have 2 different things going on, so I'll see how that plays out.
Well, one thing that I did during the break was when we did that whole recruiter friend thing to grant us a free character transfer, I moved somebody from Jedi Covenant over to Shadowlands just for the purpose of moving all of my ship unlocks, like my Galactic Trade Network, my mailbox, all that stuff over. And that brought me up to Legacy level 49 over there, which I'm almost Legacy level 50, and when I finally hit Legacy level 50, I'm going to buy the last few account-wide unlocks that I need for, like, Fleet Pass or Ship Travel or whichever one required level 50. Mm-hmm. And then I'll end up actually moving one character from Shadowlands back over to Jedi Covenant just so I have all those unlocks on both servers.
Okay.
Then I'll be good to go with that. Over the break, I really didn't play any of my high-end characters because Paige was busy, you were gone, so I made a bunch of new characters. I made a low-level character that I leveled up to be a Marauder, going dark side with him, and that's pretty cool, you know. Love to kill Overseer Trummel's daughter. I made a new Jedi Consular on Shadowlands, which I talked briefly about that, how I wanted to make one to actually go telekinetics and be DPS.
Mm-hmm.
I just made him, and he is a Sith pureblood that actually matches my weird dude with the Elvis hair.
All he's missing is the white rhinestone suit, folks.
Well, he actually has, like, the crappy 70s haircut, because I figure bad hair runs in the family at this point. But he does have the pale Sith eyes, and I think that's pretty cool. And really, I haven't done anything too noteworthy in the game myself, because I've just been playing low-level characters, getting them through Drum and Cost mostly. Haven't touched any low-level ones on their public side yet, but I do have plans to level them up soon. And hopefully now that you're back and Paige is less busy because the holidays are over and she doesn't have to be baking all kinds of crap, we can actually get back on to playing our characters.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
He says baking all kinds of crap like he didn't enjoy all the goodies.
That is aside from the point. I had to play by myself. Notice I didn't say play with myself. I said play by myself. Just for clarity.
Just to make sure we're on the same page, folks. That's what he meant.
You just made it worse.
Yeah, you made a pun with my name.
Get that out of your mouth, Treek. Oh, well, there goes your blaster, Lou. Now what are you
mean the
going
one
to
I
use
always
in
use
cutscenes?
The ones I always use cutscenes but never actually have. That's cool.
Where'd you find it? I've been looking for that.
You know, I always have it in major points in the game, but for some reason, day-to-day stuff, it's just not there.
Just because Streak has it.
You know what's incredibly sad is I'm pretty sure a quick dimension took longer than our gameplay recap for the last couple of weeks.
Well, to be fair to us, I mean, we're gamers. I certainly took advantage of the holiday break.
Well, I played the game quite a bit, but nothing noteworthy. I mean, I was doing low-level stuff the entire time, but I was pretty much in the game, just as often as I usually am. The only exception being Christmas and New Year's Day. But
I feel like I still played a lot. I just didn't do a lot. It was a lot of PvP because, you know, sometimes I was off and you were at work, so I wasn't going to play characters we play together, so I'd PvP.
Yeah, and when I would get on, I was always playing low-level characters, getting through Korriban, and, you know, I have this horrible tendency where I play characters, I get them through the starter world, and then I notice something cosmetically about them that I don't like, so I delete the character and remake them and replay through the starter world again.
He really does that.
Yeah, not a problem. I do the same thing.
I won't waste cartel points to change their appearance.
That's right. I've done the same thing.
Like, I wouldn't care if he did this if he didn't make me do it too. And he'd be like, oh, well, you got to start over too so we can play through the world together again.
Well, the first time was in Lord of the Rings Online when I really wanted that Undying title.
Oh, my God.
We must have restarted like 7 or 8 times. They did it.
Let's not talk about that because I still get upset when I think about you running into that spider pit and I'm like, don't go in there. And you did anyway?
19. And she's like, don't go in by them spiders. I'm like, it'll be fine. And then we go in there, and then a spider, like, impaled her.
No, you died. I didn't die. I ran away. And then you're like, oh, we have to start over. I told him not to go in there. I knew that there was something bad in there. And wouldn't you know it, a freaking named spider and a bunch of her babies. Just kill him.
I told her that we needed to restart, and I look over, and she's, like, crying.
I hated it.
Because it was like, seriously, the 6th or 7th time we had leveled through all that crap. That is the downside of being gaming OCD.
That is the downside of playing with Fred.
Alright, so moving into our predictions for 2015.
That's right.
Since we're coming out of the holidays and everything, you know, had a neat little idea here where we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to make some predictions of what we expect to come in the year 2015. We may be correct, we may be way off kilter, but we're going to still take a crack at it. And hopefully at the end of the year, beginning of next year, we will recap and see if any of us were even close to the mark. But we do welcome you guys to participate as well, and you can send us an email with your own predictions for 2015 to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. And first things first, we're going to start with daily hubs. PvE daily hubs. How many, if any, do you think we're going to see added to SWTOR in 2015? Starting with you, Lou.
Well, I mean, shout out to Revan, we did get... We now just did get, wow, bad grammar. We did receive Rishi. I mean, there are a couple dailies on Rishi.
That's 2014.
Oh, okay. No, but I'm putting this in context. I mean, we did just receive Rishi and Yavin 4 with Shadows of Revan. Now, without knowing exactly what they have on their wall of crazy, since with typical BioWare closed mouth policy, I really hope that they use Manon. All right, because I've seen this in some other threads as well in the forums, the main BioWare forums, that, yeah, we have Manon, but what good is Manon? You're just there for a couple of cutscenes, and what? Flashpoint? That's it.
Man, I go there sometimes just to walk around. That place is beautiful.
Right, and again, that's another reason why they brought it. They constructed a beautiful looking area. Okay, well, granted, Manon's a water world, so there's not much you can do there unless you put islands, which they could do. But again, it's not like Lahan, okay, the home of the Rakata. But still, I mean, there's stuff they can do with Manon. I mean, to try to remember the lore for that particular city, okay? I mean, obviously after Knights of the Old Republic, okay, something happened in the interim period. Okay, so now we jump forward to SWTOR, to where Otto City, okay, what we're really looking at, I believe, is just a really small portion of the city, because those, if you've played Knights of the Old Republic, all right, Manon, those zones were pretty decent sized, okay? They were big parts of the game, pretty big maps. All right, and you only saw a portion of it. Like any part of the KOTOR games, those maps, you were only playing a small size of it, but you knew what was out there, especially when you were on Taris. Okay, how many zones did you actually play in Taris? But you knew you were on a city world. Same thing here with Manon. I mean, Otto City is huge. It's the only landing point that the Cellcath had built for outsiders. All right, and it's not just not only dealing with the Republic, the Republican Sith, but they're also dealing with other members too, other peoples. All right, they're also dealing with the Hutts, the Hutt Cartel, and other independent systems that will trade with the Cellcath for Kolto. And to think that we only get to see not even at least to me, like maybe 1 or 2 blocks of that city, and that's all we get. Like, come on. There's got to be other stuff we can do in Manon.
So, right. Are you predicting they're going to make it into a daily hub?
Yeah, I think it'd be a waste if they didn't. Because Manon, in this time frame, in SWTOR, it still holds the same rules as before in KOTOR, to where Cellcath absolutely holds their policy of neutrality, and it's one of the few worlds where the Sith and the Republic cannot openly engage one another. Or even if they do engage one another, if the Cellcath see them, we'll know what happens in KOTOR, right? Or in the lore of KOTOR, the Cellcath will kill everyone who's not Cellcath. They'll kill the Republic, they'll kill Sith, they'll kill everyone who's fighting in their range, in their line of fire. Because they started something.
To try.
Yep. Dude, they will. Because remember, they also keep the numbers small. But that's the thing. It's like, again, it's like Sanctuary. It's all political, it's all backstabbing, it's all making the other guy look bad, but no open.
Like Sanctus Saru.
Yeah, you got to be careful. But yeah, they need to make Manon into a hub, because there's stuff there that you can do, which I think could add to the story, or at least give more, or flesh out the story more. Because at this point, Kolto is still the only healing source in the galaxy. Right? It's going to be some time before the galaxy discovers Bacta. So there are things there that's already in the storyline from KOTOR that they can move forward and expand in here.
Okay. So are you predicting one new daily hub then?
No, that's just one daily hub I like to see happen. Zerka 198 can be expanded as well. And we were talking a major research facility here.
Yeah, but I don't see them expanding. If anything, I'd see them adding another Zerka planet.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind that, but if they were absolutely pressed for time and resources, I think it'd be easier for them to add on as opposed to creating something new from scratch.
Yeah, but keep in mind, if they add new daily hubs, one of the goals is they're going to want to make a new reputation to tie to it. Because they're going to want people to feel that carrot on the end of the stick they need to grind for.
Yeah.
I think the last daily hub that we've seen, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the last one we've seen that didn't have a reputation tied to it was the black hole.
Yeah, because CZ-198 is for obviously Zerka. Oricon, we get the Dreadmaster stuff.
Yeah, and I believe black hole was before we had the reputation system.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going forward, all of them are going to have a reputation tied to them.
Right, but at the same token, I don't want to get inundated with tons of reps because then to me that just gets boring. Or there's just so many, it's like, you just need to stop. Okay? Because then you'll have so much of diffusion of gear. I mean, it would only be down to, all right, which has the better look?
Well, true, but that's why they add things like companion skins and stuff. Although I don't know why everybody is offering an HK skin now.
Right. Well, for me, at least for me, let me make sure about that. To me, companion skins, I could care less. I mean, there's some cool ones out there, and obviously everyone knows I really hate the fact that Scorpio only has one skin.
Wait a minute, a couple episodes ago, you were mad that she didn't have any.
Right.
Now you're mad that she has one.
Well, she only has one, but the thing is, how long has Scorpio been out? She's been a core companion for the game.
Well,
she only had a default appearance.
Sergeant Rust just got his skin, not too long before her.
Right. But my thing is, companion skins are important, but aren't that important to me.
Nobody cares about Rusk.
Alright. Well, no. But my point is, those companions should have had multiple skins like every other companion did in the first place. To me, that's a major oversight. All right, how many does Vet have? Okay, how many does Scorpio have? All right, how many did did Pierce get? How many does Cleo have? How many does Scorpio have? Everyone. All right.
I mean, I can make Quinn 7 different kinds of ugly.
There's the inequity. There's the inequity right there, which again, glaring oversight and still not right in my eyes.
Oh, they should make a Rackle event Scorpio customization where she just has green stuff all splattered on her.
To sit through and grind through reputation just for a companion skin, as opposed to I want better looking armor and weapons. To me, it just boils down to cosmetics for my character. And, if you give me 15 new daily hubs and 15 new sets of armor and weapons, okay, I really hope the incentive is, it looks better, it looks cooler. There's no real difference stat wise.
Unless they could go back to, not go back to, but they could adopt kind of like what WoW did with Wrath of the Lich King, and every one of these reputation vendors has one single best in slot piece of gear that you get at Legend Standing.
True. Grinding for companion skins, not my main focus point for grinding a rep. That that gear and weapons set that's there, better look good, or maybe differentiate between this particular set is better for someone who's spec for healing. This is a better set for someone who wants to go DPS. This is a better set for someone who wants to go tanking. If they're going to bring in that many or introduce that many daily hubs, make it so where, all right, maybe you want to focus players who want to do this particular state, gameplay, go here. You don't need to force them, hey, you need to go everywhere. But give them a choice. If you want this type of gear, you can go here. If you want this type of stuff, there's there. So that's that's what I like to see with these daily hubs. If they're gonna bring more of them in, please put it in a way to where you don't have to you don't have to do all of them. give the players the option to say, you know what, I only want to do these because this has the stuff that I want for these characters. You know, if I'm playing on my smuggler, or if I'm playing a gunslinger or a scoundrel, I want to go here because these rep grinds have what these characters that I want to play have. Don't need.
Well, true, but I mean, it's all legacy-wide stuff, so you still want to do every hub on everybody and then buy it on those characters.
You know what I think would be fun? Is if they had more class-specific reputations, maybe, so that you could do dailies and get really good gear for, whatever character you're on. I think that'd be fun. Like, if you're a smuggler or whatever, just to be with a bunch of other smugglers. I don't know, like, what to call that group of people. But, like, if you're a Sith, to be with a bunch of Force users and do a bunch of their dailies. I think that'd be fun.
That could be something to introduce to where, it is class-specific, where, Force users go to this particular group of, this particular area and grind dailies for them, and it's all, maybe quest designed around, Force users. Other daily hubs, like I said, I talked about, possibly expanding CZ-198. Because again, Zerka has the entire planet, so we've only seen a very, very, very small portion of it. Again, Manon, beautiful world. A lot of stuff going on in KOTOR. I can't believe they would shortchange it like this in SWTOR, but, they still have... There's plenty of time for them to actually expand on it, make it a dailies hub. Expand the story even more down there. Or at least not the story, but, the planet stuff, the lore stuff, and associate it with that. I also think, too, that another hub they could probably create... let's see.
Well, alright, like, regardless of what the hubs would actually be, in the year 2015, how many additional hubs do you anticipate that they're going to add?
At most, probably 4, if that.
Okay, well, we'll say 4 for purposes of your prediction. How many do you think we're going to see added in the next year, Paige?
Daily hubs?
Yes.
I would say 3. And I say that because I have a feeling that they're not going to be adding, like, new planets. I think that they're probably going to do something like they did with the black hole, where they have another section of a planet you already visited to go do something for somebody.
Yeah. And I would guess that there'll probably be 2 that they add over the next year. Alright, so then the next bullet point, operations. Now we know in the last operation cycle, there was a 14-month gap before they received these 2 operations that were included in Shadow of Revan. So, in the year 2015, how many operations do you anticipate being added to SWTOR, Lou?
I'm trying to be very diplomatic with this answer, because I'm trying to give Bioware the benefit of the doubt. And I want to be cautiously optimistic. And not in that 14-month gap we had, that to me is a really poor showing on our part. Okay? And they will probably hide behind the reasoning that they had devoted a bunch of the resources, majority of the resources, towards Shadow of Revan.
No, their actual excuse was that they had to build Galactic Starfighter and Galactic Strongholds.
Right, but then they tack onto that too, Shadow of Revan. So now that Shadow of Revan is out, okay, it's there, it's live. My thing is, how will they now incorporate additional operations into the game? I mean, we did get the new ones that came out with Shadow of Revan. Okay, they're there. Honestly, well, I think we'll be lucky if we see 2, at least 3 this year.
Well, 2 or 3, Lou. What's your guess?
Man, I'm gonna go with 2.
Okay, 2.
Because you know what, their track record, 14-month gap, and that's they literally came out and told us it's because we shoved all our resources to these 2 things. Okay. And of course, they're not going to tell us that those resources are back up again and free to plan operations. But then again, Shadowrun's only been out for less than a month. And if they had nothing pre-planned, then I'm assuming that they're starting from scratch. So we'll be lucky if we see 2.
Okay. So, Paige, how many operations do you think we see in 2015?
I'm going to go with 3. And I'm going to say 3 because I feel like with this whole, you can solo an operation now and then do it with a group thing, I think that gives them something new and exciting to work with. It gives them something new to offer players. And if they gave us 3 new daily HUDs with 3 new reputations, they could give us 3 operations that gave us reputation.
Interesting guess. I'm going to guess 1. Because there's 2 right now. I think BioWare will expect that to last people until at least the middle of summer, and they'll put out another operation, and then there won't be another one until after the next new year. That's my prediction. Okay, so next up is new war zones. How many new war zones, if any, do you anticipate being added in 2015? And do you think that it or they will be new game modes? Go ahead, Lou.
Wow. I think the PvP community on Tor has really taken a beating over the past year plus. All right. Obviously, we've seen that the PvP side of the house of the game has received very little, if any, attention. And I don't think BioWare is doing enough to at least cater to that portion of the player base like they should. Obviously the PvE player base is quite considerable. But you also have a PvP player base, or even PvEers who like PvP. They're not getting their fair share of resources. The PvP team is there. I just think BioWare needs to get them in gear and say, look, we need to create new ideas, new things to keep the PvP crowd here, to keep them going. So, I'd like to see at least 3 new war zones.
Well, yes, but how many of those do you think BioWare is going to deliver in the next year?
I think the PvP community would be lucky if they see 2.
See, that's the fun of the prediction show, Lou. You try to guess for accuracy.
Well, no, I'm going for optimism. I'm trying to get BioWare the benefit of the doubt. I think I'd like to see 3 new war zones, but I think the PvP community would be lucky if they see 2.
Okay.
And it's for me. I think it's sad that other first-person shooter games that are obviously PvP based, player versus player based, can come up with dozens of new maps, variations of the same theme. In the end, there are only so many variations of the same theme, Tor, for the PvP maps. But you could design a plethora of them, different terrain. How many planets do we have in the game? All right, how many different structures, how many different areas we have in the game that you can build maps around?
It doesn't even have to be something that's already in the game. They could just take like a generic spaceship layout and be like, oh, this is this ship that's wrecked and you guys are fighting over it.
Right, and that's something they can do. Okay? Boarding parties. One defends, one attacks. Seize key points of the ship. The engine room, life support, and the bridge. There you go. Defending team, obviously they got to fight off the attacking team X amount of time.
I'm genuinely surprised that this game doesn't have a regular war zone, like 8v8 style, where you earn points by kills.
Well, I'm trying to recall, but I think, technically I think the game has issues with 8v8, which is why I don't think it's in the game.
Well, no, 8v8 is in the game. That's what standard war zones are. And then arenas are 4v4.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I just want to see, basically like a Void Star map, only instead of the objective being blowing open the doors, it's you versus the other team. You try to kill each other, and every time you get a kill, you get 1 point. Whoever has the highest score at the end wins. Like a team deathmatch.
Right, I was saying, deathmatch or just a free-for-all. But obviously your side versus their side.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be where, you try to kill the whole team first. I want people to respawn like normal, and your team just builds up points by getting kills.
And that can be done. But again, you can go more with that kind of gameplay. You can build dozens of maps for that. And they already have those games. They already have those zones in the game. You can take variations of the war zone, the war torn zone of Karelia. All right, of Balmora. Okay. Heck, they can take the maps that we see with Assault on Korriban, and Assault on Tython, and use those for that kind of gameplay, to where it's like just kill each other. You have 50 minutes, have at it. You can't kill the same side, but you can kill the other team as much as you want, and that's how you rack up your points.
And I think that would be fun.
Yeah, and again, like I just said, you can come up with at least a handful of maps right off the bat.
Well, you could even use the pre-existing PvP maps, just like Galactic Starfighter. You have objectives on all those maps, but then sometimes it just spawns in as team deathmatch.
Right, but for variety's sake, all right, you want to give players something new to look at least different environments to play in, because that breaks monotony too. They can mix and match all the different areas.
It'd be funny if they try to incorporate planets and you get one of those matches where it's like Empire versus Empire, and for some reason it's on Tython.
That'd be hysterical. That could work. Two rival Sith Lords with their own forces going at each other. That can work.
Jedi versus Jedi on Korriban.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay, so what's your final guess, son?
Yeah.
2 or 3?
Lucky if we see 2.
Okay, so your guess is going to be 2. And do you think that one or both of them will be a new game mode?
No, I don't think there'll be any new game modes. It'll just be the same old, same old.
Okay, so 2 with no new game modes. All right, Paige, what's your guess?
Before I say anything about war zones, I want to correct myself. When we were talking about operations, I started talking about flashpoints and soloing them. So, yeah, not soloing operations. Sorry about that, but I still say 3. 3 new reputations, 3 new daily hubs, 3 new operations. But, yeah, sorry, correct myself there. As far as war zones, I'm going to say 2 new war zones. 1 new war zone, new map, new objective, new idea. And then I'm going to say that the other new war zone won't actually be a new war zone, but another game mode.
Wait a minute. So, are you saying that there's going to be 2 new maps? Or one of them is going to be a map that's already in the game with a different game mode?
2 new maps.
Okay. And one of them's a new game mode? Or both?
Yes, one of them is new.
Okay. I'm predicting 1 new war zone, and it will be a different game mode. And that brings us on to Galactic Starfighter. Lou, do you think Galactic Starfighter is going to get anything new?
No. I think the only new things that Galactic Starfighter will get are probably new skins for the fighters. That's it. New maps, I doubt it. I think the easiest thing for BioWare to do at this point is to get new paint jobs. Okay, maybe some new equipment. The various fighters we get to use, because I think they're going to start shifting a lot of the resources to these new things we're predicting. We're trying to predict here. All right, if they want to build the support to create new operations, to create new flashpoints, to create new war zones, or new daily hubs, they're going to have to sacrifice something. And I think GSF and to add on strongholds, they're going to be put on the back burner, so to speak.
Okay.
And get low priority. So for me, GSF, no, nothing new. The only thing new that GSF will get will be new custom job, paint jobs, and maybe new equipment here and there. That's about it.
Okay. Paige?
I think that there might be 1 new map, but I don't think that there'll be anything more than that. No, I agree with Lou with the new skins, new gear, and everything, but I don't think that they'll put anything else in the game as far as modes or anything like that. They just committed a lot of time to it, so I don't think they're going to put resources back into that when they have a lot of other things that they need to be working on.
Okay. I predict we're going to hear them start talking about a PvE mode for GSF toward the second half of the year. Probably won't see it implemented until 2016, though. But I do believe we're going to get a new map this year, and it's probably just going to be domination and team deathmatch per the usual. With a revamp on the reward system, they're going to figure out some way to give incentives to get people playing it again. And I think we might see a new ship type added. Because they're going to have to put that carrot on the stick to get people that maxed out on GSF back in there.
We like carrots.
And that brings us to our last question. Galactic Strongholds. I mean, well, real quick, does anybody think for real that we're not going to get a stronghold this year? At least one?
Oh, I think we'll get one.
Okay. So, go ahead. How many do you think that we're going to see this year, Lou?
One, and for myself, they need to put on Rishi. Because Rishi is, done extremely well. To me, it looks really well built, well designed zone. It'd be a nice fit. I mean, come on. They gave us the Sky Palace in Nar Shaddaa. Okay, then we have, obviously, the strongholds on the Capital Worlds, which is nice. And I really think it'd be pretty cool to have a pirate's hat out on Rishi. I think that'd be a really cool themed hideout for the players.
Okay.
All right. Because, Nar Shaddaa's stronghold is, it is what it is. It's a Sky Palace. It's a beautifully, opulent, I'm rich in your face type of stronghold. To where I think if they give us a new stronghold on Rishi, it'd be more of a, it's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean meets Star Wars, which can happen because, Disney owns both IPs. So, it can't happen. Take a doubloon, get to turn into a corpse in the moonlight.
Okay. So, Paige, what do you think? How many strongholds?
I'm going to say at least 2. And I'm going to say that because it doesn't seem like it takes much to make one of these. I mean, basically they're just giving you a bunch of empty rooms with customizable hooks on them. And all they have to do is pick a planet, draw a floor plan, give you a bunch of hooks.
And the thing is, they don't have to draw a floor plan because all the strongholds are the same.
Oh, there you go.
They all have the same layout. Think
well,
about it.
Maybe they'll draw new floor plans for your pirate hideout.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to say 2.
Wait, is that true that even if it's a different location stronghold, it has the same floor plan? Or are you saying that it has the same floor plan if it's the same stronghold?
I mean, it's going to be. I mean, when you look at. Let's see. Gosh.
Well, I mean, like Nar Shaddaa and Drummond Cost don't share the same map with a different skin, do they?
I don't believe so, but I wouldn't put it past them to do it because they've reskinned other stuff before.
Oh my gosh, that'd be.
And if they do give us a new stronghold, what's the easiest thing for them to do? Is just take an existing floor plan, but just give it the architecture and style of the new planet that they're on.
I have a feeling before too long we're going to start seeing strongholds popping up in the cartel market for direct purchase, just because that's the route that like EverQuest 2 went with some housing, and Rift sells you keys to certain houses now, dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think eventually we're going to see them start to make homes and put them on the market where you buy them. And knowing BioWare, they'll probably be like $30 a pop.
Okay, well, if you think that's coming, how many strongholds do you think will be put in the game then this year?
I don't know if that's coming this year. I'll say if that comes, I would say at least 5. If that doesn't come this year, I would say 2 strongholds. And I would predict that those 2 strongholds would probably be on Manon and Rishi. Unless they have some other stellar planet just waiting that we didn't get to yet. Because I don't see them giving us a stronghold on Yavin 4.
No, to me that wouldn't be right because lore-wise that wouldn't work. Having a stronghold in Yavin 4.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But I could see them giving us one on Manon because a lot of players have been asking for an underwater one there.
That's true, and being a neutral ground for both factions, you could actually have both characters. If you have characters in both factions, that could be the one stronghold to where you don't have to pay the damn fee, smuggler's fee, to visit.
There's one like that now, Nar Shaddaa.
Right. Adding another one, Fred.
Well, you did say the one stronghold. So I said there's one now. So that'd be the second one.
All right, it'd be the second one. But the thing is, it's...
Actually, that'd be the third one because Tatooine.
I don't count Tatooine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
nobody can afford that.
Sorry, I don't understand. Being a Star Wars fan for all these years, these decades, I don't understand the love for Tatooine. It's a friggin' dust ball.
I definitely don't love Tatooine after that time I visited Ash's stronghold and almost suffocated to death in the sand.
Okay. I didn't like Tatooine in KOTOR. I didn't like Tatooine in any of the Star Wars games.
Although I will point out, too, that it's complete crap that when you transfer servers, you don't keep the strongholds you already own. Even if they can't keep the decoration layout, I should still have those strongholds unlocked.
Well, that's how they get you to pay for them.
Yeah, that's still crap.
I didn't say I like it, but that's...
Especially if you use cartel coins to unlock it, you should definitely keep it.
Well, they want you to spend more cartel coins to unlock them again.
They just want you to move back to your last server.
Or at least stay on the one you're on now.
Yeah. Well, that's probably part of it. Who knows? All right, so one last question for both of you. Do you predict that we get the next expansion in 2015?
I'll go first. No.
Lou?
I wouldn't say expansion, but what they could do is they could probably give us something...
I think maybe a big patch with something new.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Do we get 4.0 in 2015?
No.
I doubt it. I don't think we'll get anything like that. What we're going to get is maybe small scale DLC additions to the game, but nothing to what BioWare considers a full-blown expansion.
Okay. So, I agree with you guys that I don't think we're going to see it this year either. So, for bonus points, which quarter of 2016 or 2017 do you predict that we get the next full-blown expansion to this game?
I don't think we'll get any.
You don't think 4.0 is ever coming?
Not in 2015, no. It'll be 2016.
Well, that's what I mean. Which quarter of 2016 do you predict it to come?
At this point, I think they'll be lucky if they release the first quarter of 2016. They'll probably start dropping hints by third quarter. Okay, by the summer of this year.
Mm-hmm.
They'll start dropping hints, or at least be open with, if they continue with Cantina, say, look, yeah, we have some prospects of another expansion we're thinking about, or that's in the works. They'll drop some hints here and there, probably some Easter eggs along the way before we get there. But I don't think we'll get anything solid this year.
I think that by third quarter this year, they'll have the next expansion announced, and by let's say second quarter 2016, they'll have something released.
Yeah, I'm predicting second quarter of 2016 as well. That's when I think it'll hit.
Mm-hmm.
But we're unanimous. We don't think it's coming this year. So BioWare could prove us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt it, but they could. All right, so then with our predictions locked in here, you guys can feel free to send us your own, and we will share them if you send them in. And then either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, we'll review them and see if we were on the mark or way off the mark or how it all fell. And so, Paige, that takes us into the Star Wars recommendation of the week.
Before I share this week's recommendation, I'd like to say to everyone that I actually received one of my own recommendations as a Christmas gift. For that very, very large recommendation post I did on our website, I actually got the Infinity Scarf from ThinkGeek.com with the little Imperial and Rebel logos all over it, and I love it.
And no, it wasn't me that got it for.
No, it wasn't.
Because I'm a jerk.
Anyways, for those interested in actually getting a look at the recommendation of the week, I will be posting a link with the photo on the Facebook wall after the show is released to iTunes. This week, I have something from my friends at ThinkGeek.com. It is a Death Star Bluetooth speaker. And I'd like to read their description because I always find their descriptions make me smile. They say, we're friends of action figures around here, so we have a lot of collectibles on display at our houses and on our desk that really have no purpose, except, obviously, to declare our awesomeness to all onlookers. So we're always pleasantly surprised when a product comes along that both fulfills our fandom desire and provides another function. Meet the iHome Death Star Bluetooth speaker. When you're not using it, it's a lovely 4.5-inch diameter Death Star on an acrylic stand. When you are using it, it's a wireless speaker with one-touch connectivity to your Bluetooth device. Oh, and did we mention it also lights up? Yep. It can also play music from devices with a standard 3.5mm audio out jack. If it has a standard headphone jack, you're good. Unfortunately, the model we got does not include concave dish composite beam super laser, but them's the breaks.
That's really cool looking.
I know, I want one. Valentine's Day.
Oh, what? And that takes us into the intelligence report.
But before we get into that, it'd be really cool to actually compliment the Death Star Bluetooth speaker. These are from different planets of the Star Wars universe.
This could be cool.
Yeah, you have the Death Star, Alderaan, which is in pieces. just saying. You have an Alderaan speaker, it doesn't work because it's broken. Oh!
If you had an Alderaan Bluetooth speaker, you just wouldn't have a Bluetooth speaker.
They'd ship you the pieces. It'd be a box in pieces. Hey, sorry. A crushed boot print on it. Oops.
Oh my goodness.
This was Alderaan. We're sorry.
That could be a heck of a gimmick. We could just get little pieces of rocks and sell them to people as pieces of Alderaan.
Is that going to be our prize for winning Agent Olan's intelligence, or not his intelligence report? His question of the week.
You get a broken.
Actually, Lou and I decided what the prize is going to be, and we should be ready to discuss that very soon.
TM.
We actually have something in the works. Well, no, this isn't a soon TM thing. This is an actual soon, like within the next week or two.
In the next week or two, we're announcing it, or we're discussing it?
Announcing it. We've already had the discussion.
Where was I?
You were at work.
Yeah, you were at work.
You were at work. We don't want to bother you. So.
And both of y'all should have been at work, too.
No comment. Anyway, back to us.
Well, technically, we were at work, just
not
doing
just
what
not
we were
working.
supposed to be doing. We were working on our other project.
Shame on you guys. I'm up here flying the ship. You're back there having discussions.
We were working on our game lives as opposed to our professional lives.
If it makes you feel any better, we got Shriek's opinion instead of yours.
Oh. Well, she has good taste. I mean, she always chews up my good jackets.
And my toenails.
Okay, so Agent Olan's intelligence report. Take it away, Lou.
Yes, thank you very much. And this week's intelligence report is the 100-Year Darkness, the Great Schism. A quote by Marco Ragnos. Once we were mighty Jedi of the Republic, brothers in the Force. But the great schism between the dark side and the light turned Jedi against Jedi. Our ancestors were defeated, driven off, cast out. The 100-Year Darkness was a conflict that began in 7,000 years before the Battle of Yavin and lasted until approximately 6,900 years. Obviously 100-Year Darkness, folks. When a group of Dark Jedi created monstrous armies to battle the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic. The 100-Year Darkness began 3 years after the Dark Jedi split with the Order in the Second Great Schism. After decades of fighting, the Dark Jedi lost the war in its final battle, but went on to conquer Korriban and found the Sith. So yes, folks, beginnings of the Sith. And here's a great quote by Gentle Paul. So envious were the Jedi Knights of our ability to transform creatures into improved manifestations, they made it their ongoing duty to hunt us, the Dark Jedi, wherever we attempted to experiment and practice our knowledge. The Second Great Schism began when a small sect of Jedi Knights began practicing extended uses of the Force. By relying more and more upon the Force, these Knights learned that using the Force of sufficient intensity could bend life itself. With their new powers, the Knights experimented upon other life forms to create new species and predators as extensions of their will. It was postulated that their power could even be used to end death and revive dead worlds. Other Jedi looked upon these new powers with suspicion, suspecting that such power would only lead to abuse. The earliest rebels, the Legions of Batuu, had been defeated in the First Great Schism, but their legacy remained, and a second group of dissidents would emerge, led by such rogue Jedi as Ajunta Pall, Zo Zan, and Karnus Mur. All great conflicts begin with passion, and this one was no different. Firmly adamant in protecting their newly acquired powers, this sect of Jedi sought to convince the other Jedi to join their quest for eternal life and galactic bliss. The others were not convinced, and tried to distance themselves from the situation. Firmly convinced that their way was right, the arguments turned to conflict. The rogue Jedi were exiled along with their teachings. A war had begun that would last 100 years. And here's a quote. A Jedi sect, weren't they? The result of a kind of a family feud. And this is from a young Palpatine recalling his knowledge of the Sith's creation. Retreating from Jedi worlds such as Tython, the exiled Jedi raised an animalistic army of dark side abominations. The first form of carbon zombies were created during the early stages of the war. However, even against these incarnations of the dark side, the Jedi began to push the rogue Jedi back. The animalistic army was easily overwhelmed by the power of the Jedi, but the exiled Jedi refused to surrender. Duels to the death between Jedi became the end of many battles. During the war, the Jedi constructed the Prism, a secret prison facility known only to the members of the Jedi Council. By the second half of the war, the Dark Jedi were in a state of despair. They were simply outnumbered and could see no way of winning. However, the Dark Jedi refused to surrender, and pulled all the resources into creating the most fearsome dark side creatures ever seen. Supported by monstrous creatures such as the Leviathan, the Dark Jedi armies were reinvigorated. Armies fled in terror from the abilities of the Leviathan to suck life essences into the blister traps upon their backs. Ew. However, under combined efforts from the Jedi, the exiles were continually pushed back. The last stand of the Dark Jedi was on the world of Korbos. Infighting, along with the bombardment of the Jedi and the Republic, led to the surrender of the last Dark Jedi. Exile. After their defeat on Korbos, the surviving Dark Jedi were rounded up by Republic armies. Stripped of weapons and armor, the Dark Jedi were at the mercy of the justice of the Republic. Although members of the Republic wanted public executions, the Jedi leaders were inclined to banish the rogue Jedi into the unknown, in the hopes that, with time, they would see the errors of their ways. On the plains of Barren World, the exiles, as they became known within the Republic, were herded onto unarmed transport ships. Several fighters accompanied these ships to ensure the departure of the Dark Jedi from Republic space. The 100-year darkness was over, and the Jedi had weathered the Second Great Schism. A New World. In a quote from Darth Warlock III, the surviving Darksiders fled the Republic, finally coming to Korriban, where the native Sith welcomed them as gods. Coming out of hyperspace, the Dark Jedi gazed upon an uncharted world. Landing on the world, they were surprised to find a humanoid species calling themselves the Sith. Hakagram Grosh, the ruling king of the Sith, or Sithari, was shocked at the appearance of the outsiders, but after seeing their amazing powers and advanced technology, the king welcomed them to the world. Unfortunately, that led to his downfall. The Sithari Shadow Hand conspired with the new rivals and betrayed his liege to the Dark Jedi. Using their training in the Force, the exiles amazed the Sith and elevated themselves to godlike status on Korriban, becoming the rulers of the Sith people. The most powerful of the Dark Jedi, Ajunta Pall, became the first Dark Lord of the Sith. Some of the exiles, however, were not content to rule the Sith and gather their strength. A few of the Dark Jedi returned to the territory of the Republic to attack the Jedi. They believed they now had the power to crush the Jedi Order and rule, but they were wrong. Their premature actions served only to alert the Republic and their defenders that some of the exiles survived out in uncharted space. As years passed and interbreeding occurred between the fallen Jedi and the Sith, the term Sith came to mean not only the original inhabitants of Korriban, but also their fallen Jedi Masters. The Dark Jedi greatly accelerated the cultural development of the Sith. When first encountered, the Sith were a simple tribal species that wore primitive clothing and lived in small huts. With the influence of the Dark Jedi, elaborate clothing came into use, and large temples were erected by the Sith people for their overlords, including the Valley of the Dark Lords. With the destruction of the Sith Empire, for the rest of galactic history, the term Sith was more often applied to only those dark side Force users who were the successors of Agent Paul and the Lords of the Sith. It is this rise to power and integration into Sith culture that the term Dark Lord of the Sith originated as a title bestowed upon the leader of the old Sith Empire by a council of lesser Sith Lords. During the early history of the Sith Empire, the coming of the prophesied savior of the Sith Order, the SWTOR, was foretold. The SWTOR was a perfect being who would one day lead the Sith. According to prophecy, the SWTOR would rise up and destroy the Sith, but in the process make them stronger than ever before. Some see this as a striking parallel to the Chosen One of Jedi legend. Return. Quick note here, folks. After becoming Sith Lords, several exiles took the ship they had arrived on along with new weapons, Massassi warriors, and their new secrets of Sith alchemy in an attempt to destroy the Jedi against Ajunta Paul's orders, only to have themselves destroyed and giving the Jedi the knowledge that Sith space existed, then that the exiles had survived. And that, folks, that's what leads to the destruction of Korriban, by the way. So, as always, I wanted to say thank you to the Wikipedia, StarWars.com, TheForce.net, and other Star Wars lore sites out there, folks. If you enjoy the Star Wars lore as much as I do, please go to these sites, look up your favorite topics, your favorite people, favorite books, magazines, comics, whatever, and enjoy.
I was really enjoying that one up until the destruction of the Sith Empire.
Well, it had to happen.
It didn't have to.
No.
George Lucas was weak, so that one couldn't win.
Well, I mean, folks, if you really want to see more of this stuff, I mean, they do have, again, from Dark Horse Comics, all right, the graphic novel series, Golden Age of the Sith, always, or at least to me, that's a great read. And conversely, too, the latest one that came out last year, which was Dawn of the Jedi, which is the actual, the beginnings of the Jedi, meaning you get to the point to where there are no Jedi, no Sith, there's nothing. It's just
that's what you were talking about before, where they actually fight with swords and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not even that. It's just that the Force, it's kind of loose to what I think J.J. Abrams is trying to do with Force Awakens, is that the Force actually now, civilization's gotten to the point to where now the Force will say, all right, you know what, I'm going to do this. And you're actually going to see, remember what Ben Kenobi said? I think if you read the actual novel version of Star Wars, you know, he tells you what the Jedi were. All right? Not only warriors, but you're going to see philosophers, scientists, clergy, people from all walks of life that the Force will call to Tython. And it's going to take them years, centuries to finally hammer out what they're doing there and who they are. All right? So to me, that's what Tales of the Jedi is doing. Dawn of the Jedi is like saying, all right, this is people going to this strange planet that they have no idea where it is, but they know how to get there, and it's Tython.
So you think in the new movie that the Force is going to reach out to a bunch of people?
I don't know. I mean, the way it seems, I mean, when you listen to the narration, I think Andy Serkis, I think, is the voice actor for that. And from what I've seen in the wiki that's out there so far, remember, I think this one, Episode 7 takes 30 years after Return of the Jedi. And if they're not following, the EU per se, then at this point, how is the Force Awakening? I mean, has Luke been doing nothing since Return of the Jedi?
Watch him be back on that little moisture farm on Tatooine.
Well, I mean, you look at a lot of the shots there. I mean, a lot of them are Tatooine on Desert World. Like, why are we back in this world again?
That'd be terrible. He just went back to moisture farming.
Or or if you went back to Tatooine to rebuild the Order, it's like, come on, dude, they're better planets with much better environment to build an academy on. Where the environment itself won't try to kill you. But I think it's, but you're right though. Unlike here, I really hope they take it to where if there's going to be a balance of the Force, because remember, one can't exist without the other. All right, particularly at this point, I mean, the last two acknowledged Sith were destroyed. Palpatine and Vader. I mean, he redeemed himself, but yeah, he was He was a Sith up until that point, and there's no Palpatine. So I think it's really going to be, all right, Luke's still out there. He's the first of the new Jedi. And I really hope he hasn't been sitting on his butt. But he's been rebuilding the Order.
Luke's on Tatooine. He has a whole group of sand people that are his new Padawans.
Yeah, and he's drinking more blue milk from Aunt Beru's pitcher from the refrigerator.
Riding around on a Varactyl.
No, he'd have a damn bantha. He could take a bantha, damn it. But, since one can't exist without the other, come on, the dark side of the Force has to reassert itself. It's like, no, man, this is not going to work. It's going to be yin and yang of Star Wars. You can't have one without the other. So, yeah, I think if Luke's going to start rebuilding Jedi Order, dark side's not going to take that line down. It's going to be, oh, no, I'm going to build my own people again. I'm going to get dark side users out there.
Well, I think that there's still dark side users out there, and I think it'd be really cool if, like, from out of left field, a Sith pureblood actually resurfaced.
Yeah, or at least, the other... Again, Palpatine was the only... If we follow the timeline strictly, he's the only Sith out there. He and Vader are the only Sith. But that's not to say there aren't any dark side Force users out there.
One of the things I can say that I'm looking forward to myself is that with special effects being what they are now and props, makeup artists being a little more, I don't want to say more talented, but they have more resources to use, that they can introduce like Sith purebloods and then they actually look good. And, if they do decide to put Twi'leks or, whatever in the new movie, that they'll actually look good.
Hey, if they can make Mark Hamill look like, not like Mark Hamill looks now, then they can do anything.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you mean, because remember, he had that really bad motorcycle accident, I think in between Star Wars and Empire.
Yeah, that's what
really
it was.
Really messed up his face.
I'm going to refrain from further comment on this topic, just in case. But, when this movie finally does come out, it's going to be really difficult for us, the first few episodes we do after that, not to spoil it for everybody.
It is. It really is going to be hard. And I'm not even going to lie. Like, I want to see it the day it releases.
Oh, I tend to see the day it releases.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be there. So if it comes out on a Monday, sorry, people.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Yeah.
Well, I doubt it'll come out on a Monday.
I think it's going to be a midnight release on a Thursday.
Probably.
Yeah, that'll be great because the YouTube video version of the show that week will just be the entire movie that I recorded with my cell phone in the theater.
Oh my God, stop that. You're going to go to prison. They don't play with us.
The guy at the Regal would come down and stab me with his flashlight. Have like a Kubaton on the back of it.
Oh, Jay's saying the 18th is a Friday. Nice. So yeah, you know what, Jay? I think midnight the 17th, they'll do that.
See, I know it's my only problem with seeing movies the day that they release is that you have to fight the crowd. So I think what I'm going to do is wait till tickets go on sale, buy them online or over the phone. We get there, go in, get a good seat, because so many times Fred and I have ended up in really crappy seats because we wait until that night to get the tickets.
So, Lou, do you suppose that the theater's going to have like a Gungan lollipop with the built-in tickler function when you press a button?
I think that'll be the only product that just doesn't sell.
Instead, this time it's going to be a Yoda lollipop where you eat the age spots on the top of his head.
Ew.
All right. So, Lou, how about that trivia question as we move into the community holo feed?
Yes, the trivia question of the week. Where each week we're going to post a trivia question into our YouTube video version of the show. Simply go to StarWarsBeyond.com and we'll link you right to the episode. On the episode page, there will be a button you press to see the trivia question of the week. Alternatively, it'll always be after we say our goodbyes. Then, shoot us an email with your answers to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. In your email, please include your character name, faction, server. Did I mention faction that you play on with your answer? If there is more than one correct answer, we'll do a random drawing to win the cartel pack. Everyone, and I mean everyone that answers correctly, will be entered into a drawing for a much larger prize, which we'll draw on the show every few months, and actually Fred, Paige, and I will get into that shortly. We do have an announcement for that. couple weeks, you can be entered into the grand prize drawing every time that you answer correctly. So, don't despair if you have the correct answer, but you win the cartel pack. Remember, that gets you into the pool for the other drawing that we have going on. So, keep sending your answers in.
Hint, your grand prize drawing is a handful of rocks that we're saying is a piece of Alderaan.
No.
That'll be your Alderaan Bluetooth speaker, folks.
Here's an actual hint. It is going to be some physical thing that is not in the game.
Hint.
Ooh.
Hint. So, our last episode's winner is, I hope I'm saying this correctly, T'Chuk, or T'Shuk. I feel like I'm saying a Stargate name, Jafakri, but T'Chuk. And last week's answer is, dun dun dun, if you really were banging your head against the wall, it is the Verpine. Hey,
I mean,
the Verpine.
they only had like a month to guess it.
Well, my clues also could have been a bit, a bit easier to decipher. But it is the Verpine, an insectoid humanoid species. Okay, they are technical wizards in the galaxy. Okay, a lot of equipment they produce is sought after by all factions because it's just that good, folks.
You're a wizard, Verpy.
Technically, I'm trying to remember. I think they may have, retconned the device. If you remember, The Empire Strikes Back. Okay, Lando's personal assistant, the bald-headed guy with that headpiece he had on around his ears and on his head, that actually is a Verpine invention. Okay, to where, remember how he was slave to Lando? To that wrist set he had. That's exactly the kind of stuff they can do. To where Verpine can communicate with each other or with other species through that kind of device. Over that kind of distance and be that specific. So, that's an example of what kind of technology they can come up with. That was an Imperial invention. That was one of theirs. So, at the end of the show, folks, we'll get you the new trivia question of the week.
Dun dun dun.
And Jay, no comment on what we're giving away. Not yet.
I told you, it's a pile of rocks that we're claiming from Alderaan. I'm just going to go outside and just grab a handful of gravel and put it in a little bag. And I'm going to say, to Jay Connell, love Captain Kimbray. Here's a piece of Alderaan just for you.
And also the ashes of your master that I cut down.
And that.
Isn't that right, Master Orgus?
Oh my god.
Damn it broke.
And I'm also gonna put a pile of sand in there and be like, this is from my stronghold on Tatooine.
And here's some sand from my respirator that got in there when I visited Ash. It's terrible.
And so that brings us into the community segment. And Paige, what's going on in the SWTOR community?
Check out our fellow SWTOR podcasts. Most of them are available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at SWTORnetwork.com. There's ToroCast at ToroCast.com, Corellian Run Radio at CorellianRun.com, UntiniCast at UntiniCast.com, the Unnamed SWTOR Podcast at GaddockGaming.com, SWTOR Escape Podcast at NewOverlords.com, Old Republic Radio on iTunes, Healing SWTOR on iTunes, Enmity Podcast on iTunes, Tornoob on iTunes. The Bad Feeling Podcast is at badfeelingpodcast.com. Be warned, that is an explicit podcast. Also follow Madmar at SWTOR Family for the latest happenings in the SWTOR community. If you'd like to have your podcast listed on this segment, send us an email at starwarsbeyond@gmail.com.
And one last time, I'm going to tell you how you can get a hold of us. You can find out more about our show at StarWarsBeyond.com. You can like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/StarWarsBeyondPodcast. You can send us an email to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. You can tweet the show at StarWarsBeyond. You can tweet me at SithLordCorv. You can tweet Lou at GamerGuy11B. And you can tweet Paige at Asa Fiery. And now it's time for our final thoughts.
My final thought is I love this game very much, but some changes need to come on the other end of things. I love the game. The game is great, but I'm going to need some more from the staff.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year for TOR. Although when you listen to the show and my predictions do sound a bit, I say maybe not so optimistic, but I'm trying to pad my expectations away from my wish list. All right? My wish list is huge for SWTOR, but I'm padding that with reality and trying to keep a reasonable expectation from what BioWare has going now. All right, they have a lot of stuff out there now. I mean, we just had Shadow Revan, and I think they have a good foundation to build upon for the new year, at least for the next 2 quarters of the year, to give us some new things, to keep us busy and to keep us happy. And I really hope by the next Cantina tour, I think in San Antonio, that we hear some more tidbits of what's coming up.
And as my final thought, I just want to reiterate, we do love this game. We're fans of the game wholeheartedly. And I know we may have come across a little bit negative a couple times during the show, both in our predictions to a lesser extent, and majorly when we were talking about that post that Musco put on the forums and the lack of overall communication from BioWare. That has nothing to do with the game itself. We love this game. We have a lot of fun playing this game. But we do want to see BioWare at least appearing to be as invested in this game as we are. And as far as that lag is concerned, there's no excuse. Get it fixed, BioWare. Beyond the Stars is an independently recorded fan podcast made in association with NSG Productions. And now it's time to say goodnight.
Good night, everyone on YouTube and our friends in the live stream, Stitcher Radio, SWTOR Network. Night.
Good night, everyone. Again, Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy New Year to everyone. Glad you were here. See you all again next time. Wow.
You've served your purpose.
Beyond the Stars trivia question for the week of January 5th, 2015. First clue. I joined my order after the first violent debate of our philosophy. Second clue. As I grew in power, I was the first to learn the secrets of shaping anything through the Force. Third clue. I, and others like myself, were cast out and waged war on our brethren. Fourth clue. Wandering the stars, my followers and I would make our new home on a world whose people saw and felt the Force in different ways. Fifth clue. With this new knowledge and power, I would become the first of my kind, eager to spread our influence and seek our vengeance. Who am I? And as always, folks, please send your answer to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. Please include your character name, faction, and the server you play on. Good luck, everyone. Looking forward to seeing your answers.